From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Millicent Walker.
Hello and welcome. Supreme Court dismisses applications for review of its February 13 judgment nullifying the All Progressives Congress victory in Bayelsa governorship election. Army corporal fighting insurgency with Operation Lafayette Dole Theater Command in Borno State kills 4 of his colleagues and himself. House of Representatives asks National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons to publish names and pictures of convicted human traffickers. And World Health Organization confirms coronavirus is spreading more rapidly outside China. Plus, we have business, sports, and news from Abuja, the FCT, and later, international news from our London studios. On business news tonight, oil prices plunged 2% below Nigeria's budget benchmark as concerns over coronavirus drives fears of dwindling demand.
On sports news tonight, 5-time Grand Slam winner Maria Sharapova retires from tennis.
And from Abuja, FCT Police Command arrests suspect in connection with knife attack on Abuja Electricity Distribution Company officials, resulting in the death of one.
The Supreme Court today cleared all doubt about the sanctity of its judgments as it dismissed the applications for a review of its February 13, 2020 judgment, nullifying the victory of the All Progressives Congress in the last governorship election in Bayelsa State. A 7-man panel of the Apex Court, led by Justice Sylvester Nguta, described the applications filed by the APC and its governorship candidate, Mr. David Leon, at the poll as vexatious, frivolous, and a gross abuse of court process. Justice Amina Oge, who delivered the judgment, also ordered the lawyers to the APC and its candidate to pay a total of 60 million naira to the respondents.
It is the end of the road for the All Progressives Congress and its governorship candidate in Bayelsa State, as the Supreme Court dismisses the application for a review of its judgment. In a unanimous judgment delivered by Justice Amina Alge, the court held that it would amount to violating the finality of its judgment if the applications were granted. She said granting the applications would open a floodgate for the review of decisions of the Supreme Court. In an emotion-laden voice, Justice Alge expressed regret that very senior lawyers were responsible for filing the applications. The Apex Court awarded the cost of 10 million naira to be personally paid by Mr. Leon's lawyer, Chief Afe Babalola, and APC's lawyer, Chief Wole Olanikpekun, SAN. Lawyers to the respondents react to the judgment.
We thank Almighty God for the type of Supreme Court we have. And we must know that without the Supreme Court, politicians would have since destroyed this country.
This judgment today has re-established the finality of the position of the Supreme Court and judgments of the Supreme Court. And we are happy the judiciary has indeed redeemed itself.
It would have been scandalous if the court had acceded to the request to review and change its judgment 2 weeks after it was delivered.
An elated Bayelsa State governor reaffirms his vow to reconcile aggrieved Bayelsans.
This judgment is reaffirmation of what God himself has judged. And so for me, it is not all about celebrations. It's about moving our state forward. And for that to happen, there must be love. There must be reconciliation. And so for me, it is reconciliation, reconciliation, and reconciliation.
The Apex Court, in its state of finality, ruled that each of the lawyers must pay the 10 million naira cost to each of the 3 respondents: the People's Democratic Party, Governor Duyediri, and the Deputy Governor of Bayelsa State, Lawrence Erajakpo.
We have more on the merits of the Supreme Court's judgment later in the broadcast when we'll be joined by a senior advocate of Nigeria. Now, from the court to another battleground, a Nigerian army corporal fighting the insurgency with Operation Lafiya-Dole Theatre Command in Borno State has shot dead 4 of his colleagues and injured 2 others. A statement from the Acting Director, Army Public Relations, Colonel Sage Musa, confirms that the incident occurred today in the Army Super Camp 15, located at Malam Matori. The soldier reportedly went berserk and opened fire on his colleagues, killing 4 of them before shooting himself. According to the statement, the 2 soldiers wounded during the incident are currently in stable condition at the Army Hospital in Maiduguri, the state capital. Colonel Musa says efforts are ongoing to contact families of the fallen soldiers while an investigation is being carried out to determine the circumstances that led to the incident. And another war on human trafficking is also being waged by federal lawmakers who have asked the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, to publish the names and pictures of convicted sex traffickers. This is part of a resolution by the House of Representatives following a motion on the need to investigate degrading sex slavery that Nigerian women are subjected to. Our correspondent Terry Kumi reports that the motion, sponsored by 8 lawmakers, alleges that between 20,000 to 30,000 Nigerian girls are sex slaves in foreign countries.
Dedicating a whole day to debate on the plight and the issue of students that are out of school, Marjorie and the rest of them that are out of school. So that date will be March 12th.
That announcement by the Speaker is part of the legislative agenda of the 9th House of Representatives to pay attention to the education sector, especially at a time when a survey conducted by the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, indicates that the population of out-of-school children in Nigeria is 13.2 million, or the data of 10.2 million as stated by the Minister for Education.
It is important that
for the lawmakers, some of these children who are meant to be in school, especially girls, are lured out of the country and trafficked for money.
a lot of the young girls, some that are kidnapped in uniform, that are in Mali, are operating. If you Google, you see the pictures of where they are living in. Is where not even your dog, you are allowed to live in such type of places. And they are forced to sleep with 20, 30 people in a day to be able to pay.
If you look at the value chain of this sex slavery, it begins from homes. I do not want to get involved in mentioning geographical jurisdictions where this thing is somehow almost being legitimized.
We need to actually do a lot of reorientation, because most of the people who are actually getting involved in this trade, like we rightly said, were actually deceived into it.
The UNODC reports that while human trafficking cuts across gender, young women and girls from Nigeria are particularly vulnerable as they are trafficked to other African countries, Europe or the Middle East, where they are forced into sex work. The lawmakers resolved that NAPTIP should publish the names and pictures of convicted traffickers and mandates the House Committee on Human Rights to conduct investigation into all aspects of sex slavery and recommend appropriate budgeting and legislative measures, including sanctions and cooperation with fellow African countries to put an end to the menace.
Welcome.
Terry Ikumi, Channels Television News.
Some more stories now. Oil firms operating in the Oron domain of Akwa Ibom State are being threatened with a shutdown of operations by the local youth, who are demanding that their communities be recognized as core oil-producing areas. The youth have issued a 14-day ultimatum to the federal and state governments to meet their demands or face the consequences.
Tension is gradually building in the oil-rich state of Akwa Ibom in the south-south region of the country, as oil-producing communities in Oron took to the streets to vent their anger over alleged marginalization by the state government and the multinational oil firms operating in the area. Like many other oil-producing communities in the Niger Delta, the landscape of Oron is dotted with poor infrastructure and underdevelopment. After many years of silence, the people decide to make their voices heard through a peaceful protest. Some of the community members want better and improved infrastructure for their area.
We have resolved, and I want to read out our communique to the federal government, the state government, and all companies operating in our shores. One, we are giving the federal government, the state government, and all companies 14 days ultimatum. 14 days ultimatum to implement the resolution that was passed by the National Assembly and also communicated to the National Executive Council, which was sent to the state government in 2012. That is our stand.
We are tired of marginalization, we are tired of oppression, and we are saying enough is enough. Let all people be given their right.
In its response, the Akwa Ibom state government assures that although it does not have the powers to gazette any communities as oil producing, it will ensure even development and production of the rights of all parts of the state.
We respect their contributions to Akwa Ibom State and to Nigeria by extension. But that is why, as a government, we will continue to work with everybody. We continue to protect rights. And at the end of the day, we are going to succeed as a people, as a collective. For us, it's very clear. We can convey the assurance in clear terms that the rights of host communities in the oil industry in this state will be protected. The state government is very committed to this policy.
Youth of the community have given the government 14 days to ensure their demands are met or face a shutdown of all oil installations within their community.
And a cache of arms and ammunition belonging to suspected bandits has been recovered by security agents working with a renowned bounty hunter from the Lamebura forest, a notorious criminal hideout in Bauchi State. According to the hunter, Mr. Ali Kwara, a repentant criminal provided the tip-off that led them to the weapons cache. The bandits' arsenal exhibited at the Bauchi Government House included over 1,000 live ammunition, 43 assorted firearms and 30 cartridges. Governor Bala Mohammed, who received the weaponry, which he in turn handed over to the police, says his administration will engage with communities in the fight against crime.
That were collected in Lamebura forest, arising from the activities of Ali Kwara in collaboration with the police, who have really confiscated this from bandits who are at large, and they have run away from Bauchi. There are some informers within and outside the towns of Bauchi and environs that are helping us to do this, and this is also a collaboration between Bauchi State Government and Ali Kwara and the police and the security agencies, so that we'll be able to have some very concrete community engagement with a view to knowing all those bandits, armed robbers, those that have migrated from Zamfara and other places looking for abode in our forests. We know there are some in Yankari Forest. We know there are some in Lamebura Forest. We know there are even some along this road because of intelligence we are getting from the SSS and other security agencies. They should know that they have no place to stay in Bauchi State.
It's good we have already recovered, but we have to look for the culprits so that they will have a proper investigation and those ones will be arrested. I'm appealing to good citizens of Bauchi to cooperate. Community engagement in security is very important.
In part two, after the break, we'll be joined by Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Rotimi Ogunweso, to look at the implications of the Supreme Court verdict on the Bayelsa governorship election. Please join us again.